So guys, even Kenneth Okonkwo has joined the Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest on Channels Television. But before we get into that, take a look at this live report coming from Channels TV crew. Now take a look.
Indeed, Ayo, 5 years after the NSAS protest, Abuja has another protest right up its sleeves. And that is the Free Nnamdi Kanu protest, which has been led by activist Omoyele Sowore. This morning, he was on our sister program, Morning Brief, where he spoke about why it was that they were heading out on this protest and why the need to go out on the anniversary of the NSAS protest. He says that everything is about justice, and this should be also about justice. But we do have visuals from the Federal Capital Territory showing that people are moving about quite cautiously. The pictures we're seeing right now were from earlier when Mr. Sowore and co-protesters were gathered outside around the famous Transcorp Hilton Hotel, just right opposite the NCC. So if you know the iconic NCC building, you can see that the National Communications Commission building. You can see it in the pictures where Mr. Sowore and some other protesters were gathered. Well, they since ran away from there. We saw them in the pictures much later running away from there and saying they were going somewhere else. I did hear in the visual saying that they were going to Berger. Well, we are keeping tabs on that protest. Our correspondent, Friday Okerigbe, has been at the Unity Fountain, which was where the protest was initially designated to hold. They said they were going to march from the Unity Fountain to Aso Rock. Well, the police has been warning in a statement that they should keep off Aso Rock and that there are certain areas that are, protected by law because they had gone to court to secure court judgments earlier. Well, Mr. Sowore and his people, he said some people were arrested when they dispersed from the front of the ICC. He says that they had to leave the place. Nnamdi Kanu's younger brother, according to him, and Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer were arrested by the police. That was what he said earlier. So he did promise that he was going to give us, an update as to what exactly was happening. It's unclear if they've moved to Berger, as he did say in that video, or whether they're now at Citygate, as we're hearing. But our correspondent, Friday Okerigbe, joins us live now. He is on standby covering the protest, wherever it is happening. He's live to bring us news of, what the update is. Friday, it's good to see you. I see you're clad, already ready to cover the protest. There are fears that it could turn violent, and certainly no media house will be taking chances. So can you bring us up to speed with what you're currently seeing and what you've heard so far?
Thank you, Makbe. We came to the Unity Fountain. That is just behind me here. I don't know how far you can see, but this is actually supposed to be the venue where the protesters are supposed to convene before they will march to the three-arm zone. That is the road leading to the presidential villa, where they ought to actually stage the protest. But this morning, all the roads leading to the city center, the secretariat, the three-arm zone, and of course the Unity Fountain were barricaded by security personnel. And we were able to make our way to the Unity Fountain, the venue where they are supposed to convene before proceeding for the protest. We also came here, we saw that the place was under lock and key. We have security personnel that are here, but no single protester is here. So that is the situation as we speak. We have seen, like the videos I sent in earlier, seen a lot of security patrol in the city, armed policemen, riot policemen, all are stationed in strategic areas around the city center. Like you also made reference to earlier on, we also saw the video. Sowore posted it, of course, on his handle, that he was, of course, coming to Unity Fountain when he was accosted by security personnel, and I understood that they were tear gassed and chased or dispersed. So as we speak, we do not know where the protesters are going to meet. Some are saying that they will reconvene at the Berger roundabout to continue with their protest. Others are saying that they will be at the city gate, that is the entrance to the city center, but no one can actually say authoritatively. We reach out to some colleagues who are already at Bega. They confirm to us that there is no protester on site rather, in Bega. And we are trying to make our way from the Unity Fountain and see how we can make our way to the city gate, where they may also be meeting, going by the records, what they have done in the past. When they are chased from the city center, they usually go to the city gate to do their protest. So we are hoping that they may go there. We're trying to reach out to members in Sowore group, whether they can speak to us where they are going to meet and carry out this protest. We've not been able to get feedback from there. So we are just opening our ears, keeping our ears down to see if we can get just a clip of what is going to happen from their end today. Back to you, Mark.
All right, Friday. So if I get you correctly, right now you're standing around Unity Fountain, and that road is called the Shehu Shagari Road. It's a Monday morning. It's usually very busy. We should be seeing a lot of traffic behind you, but clearly from what I can see here, just a car or vehicle or two have passed by since you've been speaking with us. So clearly that road has been cordoned up. Is that correct?
You are very correct, Mark. And it is instructive to note that it's not just this road. In fact, all the roads leading to the city center are cordoned off by security personnel. So just a few meters from here is the Transcorp Hilton. It's a popular road, Agoyunsi Road, that leads from the Transcorp Hilton to ICC to NUC. Just that road. It's a very busy road, but I can confirm to you that the road is a ghost. It's like a graveyard, so to say, because it's quiet. And the reason is because all the adjoining roads that brings commuters, motorists to the city center and to the Maitama axis where the Unity Fountain is are all cordoned off by security personnel because of the protest that is supposed to hold this morning.
All right, Friday, we will keep tabs with you on your way to the city gate, and we'll expect updates. We ask you to please stay safe as you go about your legitimate duty. Thank you for your coverage.
It's a pleasure.
Well, our correspondent there, Friday Okirigbe, keeping tabs on the protest that's supposed to happen today. As a result of the expectations of that protest and the blockade that has happened in certain area, it has caused a backlog of traffic, pictures of which we'll show you now, just the snippets. I mean, some of our colleagues were able to catch them on their way to work this morning. This is some of the traffic that this has caused around the Yanya area, Yanya Karu area, as a result of some of the key linkages that have been blocked. The Shehu Shagari Way is where a lot of civil servants, in fact, as a matter of fact, is where the Federal Civil Service is located, and a lot of people make their way into town from along this route, and it does appear that as a result of that blockade, there's been nowhere for traffic to pass through. But we certainly will keep tabs on the development around this protest. Fortunately for us, though, our guest was able to make it to the studio this morning. Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo joins us this morning. He's a lawyer, columnist, and public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Good morning, Maupe, and good morning, viewers at home. It's my pleasure being here again.
Shall I say that I am relieved to see that you were able to make it this morning, but I do not know what was on your mind, knowing that this protest was going to happen today, and we do know that when protests like this are happening, people tend to be cautious around, on their way to work or around even their businesses. So what was it like for you making it down here?
Well, you know, as a man of faith, I've always believed that God will make a way, even where there is no way.
Okay.
And Nigerians every day are subjected to a whole lot of miseries, hardship, and sufferings. Whenever you're going out to do anything on behalf of Nigerians, you have to take yourself as an ordinary Nigerian. And you have to subject yourself to the risk that every other person is taking. Nothing is going to stop me from doing what I've made up my mind to do.
Well, I'm glad that you're here.
It is the grace of God.
What do you
and the
make?
determination to keep moving no matter the circumstance.
What do you make of this protest, though, the Free Nnamdi Kanu protest? There are those who are saying, look, it is legitimate, they're well within their rights to protest, it is enshrined in the Constitution, and there are those who are saying this protest is premature. The matter is still in court. There's progress being made on the matter in court. It seemed at some point that, yes, there was a lull, especially after he was brought back from Kenya. But then there are those who are saying it seems that new vigor has been given the case. Just last week, we heard from the Nigerian Medical Association that he is fit to stand trial. And it does appear that the justice system is now determined to take its course. What are your thoughts on the protests which seem to want to ground the Federal Capital Territory today?
Well, first and foremost, the Constitution is very clear. Section 36 of Section 5, that every Nigerian citizen is deemed to be innocent until proved guilty. A nation that detains a human being more than 7 years, and you have him in your custody, and yet you couldn't even reach a judgment as to the culpability of his crime, is a nation that is failing in the dispensation of justice. Justice delayed is justice denied. When it comes to the issue of crime, the Constitution is very clear that the accused or defendant should be judged within a reasonable time. It is very unreasonable to keep a man in detention for almost 7 years. What are you judging? This is telling on the judicial process of Nigeria. I tell you again, in the Constitution, they say the Attorney General, while making any decision as to charging anybody, discontinuing or taking over any criminal charge, should have regard for public interest, the interest of justice, and the need not to abuse the legal process. For me, in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, the legal processes have been abused. Nobody will remain sane to be in jail for more than 7 years, that a case is being tried. People are frustrated. People believe that if you do not find anything against this man, release him or reach a political solution. That is what is bringing all these things. It's a result of frustration that there is no interest of justice served in this. So, diligent prosecution is one of the pillars of justice in a criminal offense. I do not see that diligence. And the federal government is failing on all fronts. Remember, we have pleaded that this should be treated as a political issue and settled out politically so that every party will go home in peace. And then you are the one who arrested him. You are the one who put him on trial. You are the one who is delaying for up to 7 years without giving clear justice. So the federal government is failing on all rounds. And as they keep failing, they are making their matters worse.
So do you think that this is really, you've said this is a political issue.
Should be a political issue.
It should be.
Yes.
But is it?
That's what I'm saying. The government should treat it as a political issue. Remember, during the colonial masters, where people were fighting for our independence, the colonial masters saw them also as adversaries. But they were genuine fighters of freedom. So in this world, there will always be two aspects of an issue. You know, the kind of cost-benefit issue, if it is in business. What is a cost to somebody is a benefit to another. That is how you treat political issues. To some people, he's fighting and agitating for their rights and freedom. You should also take that into consideration. To you, you may say he may have infringed on some laws. Why doing that? You should take that into consideration. And if you're a wise government, you will come to a negotiation table and let each side make a shift and come to a compromise and settle this issue politically.
The issue which he agitates for, which IPOB has agitated for years, is something that countries generally find very difficult to deal with, which is the issue of self-determination. How do you think that that can be resolved, given the fact that even if the federal government were to say, look, politically, we release him today, that certainly will not stop the agitations for people who believe that he should be given a separate country of their own?
Very good. And that is why you should not attribute it to him, that he is the originator and the perpetrator of this. I think it predates him and might even outlive him. So it is about the government learning how to treat agitators and how to dialogue with them. Because as you have aptly stated it didn't start with him. We've had MASOP, we've had other organizations. It may certainly not end with him. So it's about people expressing in their different ways their manners of frustration with the system. When things were so good in Nigeria, I wasn't hearing all these agitations. But whatever name you call them, it is frustration to the suffering, to the hunger and hardship in the country. That is the truth.
I was going to ask you, though, what side are you on? Are you on the side of the protesters? Do you support their cause? Or do you think that since this matter is already in court, pressure should be applied to the federal government to let this matter run as quickly as possible?
Very good. I am on the side of rule of law. I just told you that Nigerians have the right to protest. Section 40. And you can't take it away from them. It's their natural right. innate in them. And the Supreme Court has said, beyond exercising these rights, no human being can live a civilized life. So it is their innate natural right to protest. And it should be encouraged in a democracy. Because when you bottle up all these things, then there will be an implosion and explosion. But when people are allowed to express themselves, according to Section 39, they will ease off their anger. They will feel they've been heard. And then the government will also use it to understand the feeling of the people and know the solutions they are from and they are at. So the issue is that it is a support to rule of law. What does rule of law say? Somebody is innocent until you prove him guilty. And you must prove him guilty within a reasonable time. When it's unreasonable, it's no longer rule of law. And for me, keeping somebody for 7 years in the name of trial is unreasonable. So whatever it is, it should end now. Nnamdi Kanu should be released. Either the justice system moves at the speed it ought to move. In our laws, criminal trial ought to be held every day until judgment. That is what the law says. So I am on the side of law. I'm on the side of justice. Whether there's marginalization against the Southeast, that is given. So whether people will agitate, that is legal. Their method of agitation should also be legal. And if the government believes somebody has exceeded, then when you're applying the law, apply it legally, judiciously, and judicially. And in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, with respect, I can say they have not lived up to it.
Today is also the 5th anniversary of the NSAS protest. That was one protest that we saw a lot of young people come out to express their displeasure with the way the Nigeria police, or will I say an arm of the Nigeria police, had treated a number of young people over the years, indiscriminate detention. And after a while, the protest morphed into something else. It morphed into a general protest of complaint against the state in general and the state of affairs. Sadly, that protest did not end well. I mean, in terms of the conflict that degenerated between federal government forces and the protesters. And that had implications for a lot of people, had implications for businesses. I mean, we saw what happened afterwards, the aftermath of the protest, where businesses were, destroyed and all of that. So on days like this, when, this sort of protests are declared, people usually are very cautious. Businesses are wary. How do we balance this need for protest, which is a legitimate right, and the fears? Because the protesters, yes, they're protesting a certain cause, and I'm sure a lot of people share their cause for justice, but they also fear that it might not end well. At the end of the day, it affects whatever little that they have been able to build within the system. On the sister program this morning, we saw, the complainants come to talk about how the government of the day has pulled down the little business that they have been able to build. That is a demolition, is something different. But when protests now generate to something that actually affects lives and livelihoods, how do we call that balance?
This is where the efficiency from the state comes into view. Abroad, it is the duty of the security agencies to maintain law and order. And that includes protecting the protesters and ensuring that they are doing their protest in accordance with the law. There's nothing wrong with the police guiding the protesters on the ways they should protest to make sure that it remains peaceful. If you recall, just like you have enunciated the issue of the NSAS, when it started, one of their demands was the welfare of the police. Telling you everybody in Nigeria is under torture. Telling you the nation and the government has failed everybody, including the security agencies. We have seen it. That's why I said, most of what you're seeing in Nigeria is a manifestation of the suffering, of the hunger and hardship in the system, including that of the security agencies. When a man has not eaten from morning and is carrying a rifle, he is always triggered and can be irrational in his behavior against human beings. So the whole idea is that things are not working because the indices are not doing well. And the government is reading out statistics that is more tormenting. You know what George Sylvester said? He said, when a nation's growth is on paper, but its people sinks in hunger, he said, that's not progress. That is polished poverty, wearing a mask of statistics. So when people are suffering, and the government of the day is using fake statistics to mask their suffering, it becomes more frustrating because they know there is no end in sight. Because when the government is making that mask, they're hiding under a mischief for the suffering to continue, not a sincere desire to bring about solutions. So Nigeria has become a theater where the government is not governing well and the people are not trusting the government. And that is what you're seeing in the protests. When the NSAS met with government agreed at the initial stage to answer all their demands. But you could still see that lack of trust. They will still go and sit down and say, until we see it implemented. Because to them, once we leave this arena, it will be forgotten. And in all honesty, what they said was right. ASU went into agreement with federal government since 2009. Immediately they leave the table, the government forgets it. Till today, 2009 agreement is still being brought to the fore, and strike is being called because of it. So government must live up to the true meaning of its name, protecting the security and welfare of the people, and ensuring under the concept of pacta sunt servanda that a party to an agreement must respect the terms of the agreement. If the government starts respecting the agreement it has with Nigerian people, starting from the social contract, this will build trust in the minds of the people, and continually that trust will build. And when the government makes a promise, the people will not sit down and say, you must fulfill it before we leave here. That is what is going on.
All right, I'm not alone on this program. I know that my colleague Ayo certainly has questions for you. Ayo, over to you.
Well, thank you, Markwe. I think quite significantly a number of things are being covered. But Mr. Okonkwo, I'd like, and you've spoken to a few things, and I'd like you to, help us understand what are the missing links here. You've cited the ASU Federal Government 2009 agreements. You've also referenced the fact that the issues that's brought up the Free Nnamdi Kanu protest predated Nnamdi Kanu and may even outlive him. You're probably referring to the Civil War and the fact that, as you also said earlier, the Saudis, the kind of political sidelining, if I can use that term, of the Saudis is something you said, according to your precise word, is a given. And there are a number of other things. You talked about the NSAS, that the issues of NSAS were more about welfare of the police as opposed to, just agitation for agitation's sake. Between 2009 and 2025, a good number of people that were in government are no longer in government. Well, supposedly. Between the Civil War and now, so many waters have passed under the bridge. It begs the question of exactly how do we forestall these kinds of protests? If government is a continuum, where do we have the roadblocks that hinder the progress that should have taken us way beyond this place, such that we won't have the protests of issues that date back decades?
Very good. The simple answer to your question is Nigeria is under the siege of incompetent and corrupt leaders. Can you imagine in a nation if the money invested in our refineries had been used to repair our refineries and they are working and we are not important and fuel is very cheap? In other words, you have reasonable energy cost. Can you imagine in a nation where our educational institution has continued its growth right from 1960 without this abuse on the lecturers and the students through meager salary and through not taking care of the environment of learning? Can you imagine if such an educational institution is empowered with the resources it needs? Can you imagine if our healthcare system is working as it's supposed to work? Can you imagine a nation that is blessed with oil and with solid minerals, if these minerals have been harnessed and there is fair distribution of wealth amongst everybody? Can you imagine such a nation? Do you think there will be agitations? People wouldn't even have the time. They would be busy working. They will be busy inventing. Can you imagine a nation if all the money pumped into electricity, they have utilized it to give us 24 hours electricity? Can you imagine who is going to go to protest? People are going to protest because they are idle. They are hungry. Things are hard. It is not because they want to go and risk their lives using their head to defend a bullet. Nigeria is a nation that is potentially great. And on the day we have free, fair, credible election that will help us to elect competent leaders who would have the people as their focus.
And that brings
in 20 years we'll become a superpower nation.
My apologies,
I have
Mr.
prayed,
Okonkwo.
and
Just
I
a
believe
second.
that in my generation,
Yes.
I shall see this country
Yeah.
metamorphose into that.
Now,
So
that
what
raises the
we
question.
have
Just a second.
is
Just a second,
simply
sir.
failure of leadership.
Just 1 second, Mr. Okonkwo. Perhaps that raises the question. When you talk about the fact that, elected officials and all, it raises the question of, when we talk about government, exactly who is government? Between 1966, 67, and now, we've had quite a number of governments. But there is always a continuum. That is what we expect is the case. Since 2009 and now, the maximum number of years an elected official has is 4 years, renewable every 4 years. Only for 2 terms for the executive, and I'm not sure what the term is for legislators. But we have civil servants that are always there, maximum 35 years or until they turn a particular age. So where is the but is the question that I'm asking. Do you think the civil service could have helped to bring to their attention the elected officials, to the attention of the elected officials, as guys, these outstanding issues are there? Or do you think it is something that, you know, every elected official just comes and just ends what was on ground before? I don't know if you understand the question I'm asking.
Yes. If I understood you very well, you're talking about the civil service, the elected people, who is to be blamed, or how will the solution come? The truth is that what we are suffering in Nigeria is systemic corruption. It is systemic because there is no deterrence. In a nation where corruption is not deterred, when you want to fight it, you are at a risk. The civil servants are now colluding with the politicians to extort Nigeria and to manipulate the process for their benefit. So the issue here is that you see how corruption is walking on two legs. And even the ones that are charged, convicted down to Supreme Court, you will see politicians like Tinubu just did, pardoning some corrupt people that even the Supreme Court has declared corrupt and jailed.
Yeah, but
when you pardon such people,
let me just quickly
you're sending a message to people that there is no need. They are sticking out their neck against such people, because such people will come back to the system as elected, and they will begin to take their pound of flesh on the people that genuinely fought that they should be punished.
So, Mr. Okonkwo, just a moment though. Yes. I mean, because some people say where there is no sin, there is no need for pardon. I mean, where no crime has been committed and you know, conviction secured, there will be no need for pardon. And so the people perhaps who need a pardon are those who have been convicted, you know, even by the Supreme Court. And in reaction to the uproar that, you know, the public outcry, so to speak, we saw a message from the Attorney General's office saying that it's not the last word had not been heard on it, that there is a review still going on, because they have to now, you know, take a second look at it and then give the list to the Comptroller General of Prisons or the Correction Service, and that is yet to take place. From your mind, or to your mind, what do you think, or do you think that there is really a space? Because I've also heard lawyers say this is medicine after death. If the president has already given his pardon to these people and it's gone to the Council of State, there is nothing more that can be done. What are your thoughts, especially as a lawyer?
You see, this government keeps exposing its incompetence every day. Doesn't mean that they talk before they think. After announcing people, after going through the Council of State, you have come down to sit down to say you want to review the process. That is in itself incompetence, standing on two legs. But let me tell you the story of what one justice said. One brilliant justice from the Southwest. He said he was transferred to a city. And in that city, he was welcomed with newspaper review. People knocked down, killed on the road. Careless drivers. Accident. You know what he said? He said when he sat down, the first case they brought to him, he gave the person a very harsh sentence to jail. The person that killed somebody, a driver. He said he did it the second time, and he said it ceased. Why am I saying this? The whole idea of punishment is not in the desire of any country to inflict injuries on its citizens, but for deterrence. Nobody is rejoicing that some people are in jail or some people are facing execution. But how do you deter others from doing it? So what Tinubu is doing is encouraging people to do it. So nobody is saying that to be merciful is not good. No, but you have to matchmake what you are trying to be merciful at with the justice of the situation and the public interest. I told you this, section 174, subsection 3 of the Constitution. You have to check the public interest. Somebody murdered, a lady murdered the husband in cold blood, and you're telling me, oh, release her. You will see other people on the same matter murdering their husbands the next day. Everybody has one problem or the other. But when you remember what the consequences will be, then you will forbear. You will take a better option apart from shedding innocent blood. Do you know what it means theologically? And I talk as a theologian. It says the blood of the murderer that is needed to clean out the cry of the blood of the innocent against the land. That's there in the Bible. The blood cries against the land when you murder an innocent person. And if you are a leader and you go so ignorantly forgive such a person who murdered without a cause, you have become an accomplice spiritually to that blood that is crying against the land. We have to be very careful. You must exercise the privilege of pardon or prerogative of mercy, having the interest of the public having the interest of justice and making sure you do not abuse the legal process.
So is it too late
To do what?
to review it?
You know, with this government, anything is possible. For me, I may not say it is too late. I'm saying it's not right for you to do something and then create an impression in the mind of somebody that you have forgiven, and then coming back to say, no, I have not forgiven again. It is simply distasteful, and for me, whether it is right or wrong, it's inelegant. And this government speaks volume. And the Attorney General of the Federation, I'm sorry, he has not impressed me on this, because he's the chairman of such committee that makes such a recommendation. So what is he saying? Is he coming to tell us now that he didn't know what he was doing when he did that? I believe they were wrong.
Well, it's a fine place to leave it, but we'll wait to see, just how the Office of the Attorney General reacts to some of the legal issues that have been raised with the review, which he says might still be possible with the pardon that has been granted by the president. But while we wait for that, we have to thank you for coming on Sunrise Daily. And
so guys, finally it is obvious that there's no going back in this protest. This protest is shutting down everywhere. No wonder they wanted to stop it, because they know that it is a just cause. It is a just cause. Everybody's lending his voice, saying that Nnamdi Kanu is not supposed to be in detention. You have heard what Kenneth Okonkwo said. How can you arrest a man and keep him on trial for 7 years? You are just draining him, making him to be good for nothing, wasting his life. Where is it done? Nowhere. It's only in Nigeria where there's no rule of law. Like people will always say, if you want to benefit from Nigeria, just be a criminal. Nigeria is ready to negotiate with you. Nigeria is ready to pay you. Nigeria is ready to beg you. But if you are fighting for a just cause, guess what? They want to trample on you. That tells you that the system is not promoting patriotism. It's not promoting rule of law. It's not making people to know their rights and stand for their rights. Now the Kanu is asking for secession. Yes. Is there no need? Look at Igbo land. Is there no marginalization? Why not call him and negotiate? Why not tell him that yes, you can relate with him. You understand the plight of Igbo. That is what you are going to do. Rather, you choose to negotiate with bandits. They will tell you what they want, and you will do it for them. And guess what? Bandits are even good at bridging any kind of covenant or agreement to reach. Before you know it again, they will start making all kinds of demand. But this one, that is about the fight for Igbo. You see how they are delaying it. Anyway, we've heard that all this has a political undertone. That some of the Southeast leaders don't want Nnamdi Kanu out because they fear that Nnamdi Kanu commands a whole lot of respect from Igbo. So for them, releasing Nnamdi Kanu is not the best thing that will happen to them politically, and that is why they want him there. Have you not noticed that none of the political leaders in the Southeast are ready to talk about releasing Nnamdi Kanu, if not for people like Alex Otti that recently came out to say, don't worry, Tinubu will release him and all that. But people like Soludo them and the rest of them, none of them is ready for that. And that is why Nigerians are saying that, real Nigerians who want to see Nnamdi Kanu's ordeal come to an end, they say, release him. Enough is enough. You didn't try him, and you keep him. You bring him every day to court, take him back, say one thing, one story. It makes no sense. The judicial system in this country is not working. When Omotosho took over, Nigerians were saying, oh, a new lawyer has taken over, possibly something will happen. But every day they come to court, they have an excuse. They can take him back. They bring him again, they have an excuse. They take him back. What is happening in Nigeria? Why can't you boldly, decide on this and give your reasons for your decision? Now, because you don't have anything to try him on, you are just like playing with the intelligence of Nigerians and the intelligence of Nnamdi Kanu. But now, well-meaning Nigerians, people like Sowore, them are asking for Nnamdi Kanu, release. There is a video of many protesters here singing "Release Nnamdi Kanu." Let me read some of the reactions here. This person here said, for Sowore to organize protests within such a short period of time shows that he's truly a hero and a natural crowd mobilizer. This person, this is the power of Gen Zs, and we started to unleash it. No going back. Many Nigerians are really in support because Nigerians came out en masse, and this person say, I am Igbo, but I feel like Igbo people don't have sense. Sowore don't give a fuck about Nnamdi Kanu. He's getting a satisfaction from this and wants to divide us. He's working for Tinubu. Can you imagine working for Tinubu? This person said, if you reach your turn, no run. Stay and collect bullets. Another person here said, total lockdown. We demand justice. Everywhere was on a lockdown. You see, everywhere. These protests, yes, no matter the level of success recorded, you can really see that Sowore really tried. People came out, especially Sowore supporters. They came out en masse shouting, release Nnamdi Kanu. Now, I think Sowore has really gained some respect in all this. Sowore has gained some respect. I just want to say a very big thank you to all the people who came out risking their lives to demand for Nnamdi Kanu's release. It was amazing. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Thank you.